he was such a part of my life in the development into manhood that I took it to the whole community, and I helped develop a lot of ball players that later became some of the stars here at Langston High School. They were in elementary school, and I remember a lot of those people, the Wilson brothers, Richard and Maniboo, and Ray Gillespie, and I saw a lot of them here tonight, and they still thank me for some of the things that I did, but the way I learned those things from Hank Allen.
I had natural talent, but Hank Allen made me work hard to improve my game. Now, after I left Langston, I went to Bluefield State College in West Virginia, played football, basketball, ran track, and I had the edge over all of my competitors because I had all the basic skills and the know-how that this man had instilled in me.
The significant thing for me was that he told me in the 10th grade, 11th grade, I was selected team captain. I mean, that's my first leadership. I didn't expect it. He said, boy, you're the captain of the team. And from that position, he showed me that I had the leadership skills. And when I graduated from college, he helped us to go on to Hampton. I was only there 1 year. But he instilled in me the ability that I had the ability to be more than I was, and that I could actually succeed.
The commitment to whatever you were doing is something that I think he sold on a daily basis. And that's one of the things that I've been committed to. I became a teacher and also a coach. I coached for 25 years. So once I committed to doing those things, from hearing from him every day about that commitment, once you decide to do something, to put forth your best effort. And I constantly laugh at myself sometimes because a lot of the things that I've said to the ball players that I've coached is the same things that he used to say to us. And it's like a father telling their child something and then the child tells his child something.
Well, he was right when he said about being a leader, because I ended up being a leader for him, and with his guidance, man, it was just awesome. We would sit down in the middle of the floor, and he would just tell us about life and things that we could get out of it. But it all started with our grades and getting out of Langston. You had to have that high school education, and he emphasized that, and he emphasized that, and he emphasized that. And man, I tell you, I got out of Langston, and I went to college, because I ain't going to college. My mother had a 3rd grade education. My father had a 6th grade education, and there was no money, And, he was like, don't worry about it. I'm looking around for you, and I'm like, yeah, right, okay. Then next thing I know, William and Murray sent me a letter, and I showed it to my mother, and she said, oh, no, ain't this a white school? No, you can't go there. They'll kill you down there. I said, Mama, no, it ain't like that no more. And then Barbara Scotia sent me a letter, and that's where I ended up going down there, And I went down there, man, and I took all his values with me about always being positive, always, treat people nice and stuff, Ain't nobody did nothing to you, so why you gotta do something to them? Won't nobody bother you if you don't bother them. Through him, I found out that if you be strong, and be you, that, you can make your enemy your footstool.
And that led to positive results. Langston made consecutive appearances in 1954, 55, and 56 in the Western District Tournament's finals. In 1959, playing now on its new campus and gymnasium on Cleveland Street, the Lions won theirs and their coach's first Western District title, defeating rival Dunbar 61-51 in Danville. It was the beginning of a great run that saw Allen's troops make 8 district tournament finals over the next 10 years, and the first of 4 appearances in the state championship game over the same span. No other team in the state, including Dunbar, could match that record.
You see, what happened was at Langston High School, we got to the point in basketball that the little kids were looking up to Nicky Johnson, these guys here, like they play for the NBA or somebody. Every night that we played down at that old gym, and you know it, if you didn't get there by 7:30, you didn't get a seat. There people were there, baby.
I used to always try to get here at halftime of the JV game. Yeah. I remember not even being able to get to the door because there were so many people standing outside waiting to get in. You know, you have to work your way through the crowd to get in to play. Yeah.
And when we had tournaments, district tournaments, them kids, and nobody had, they didn't have no money. They'd go around and they asked go to the teachers. Mrs. Owen, give me, I need $5 to go to the tournament. I need $5 here, and they got it. And I look up and here they are, all of them there at the tournament. They had no money to come to the tournament, but they were there. We went to the state tournament down in Hampton. They ran a bus down there every night that we were there. We would go down there today, see the game, come back home that same night, rest up a little bit and get on the bus and come right back the next night. They did that. That's this town. The people in the town did this.
Packed games at the Langston Gym, like this one, after the Lions defeated Dunbar in the finals of the 1965 Western District Championship, and particularly the 65 state tournament in Hampton, where the local Danville newspaper, The Register, said the Lions fans, quote, commandeered the gym, were examples of the love and affection the Langston faithful showed whenever and wherever Coach Allen and his teams played. With the success, one thing never changed, the integrity of Hank Allen. He led his teams with fairness and discipline, and that applied to everyone on his team. His leading scorer, Tommy Thompson, was a 4-year varsity player who averaged a team-leading 16 points per game during the mid-1950s. He was one of the many players that found out about Allen's legendary discipline.
My head was getting a little big because of some of the things that I was achieving on the basketball court. So anyway, I was running late. And my mom was trying to get me out the house. And I said, they're not going to leave me. They're not going to leave me. No way Hank going to leave me. Anyway, I took my time walking down the street to get to Langston and get to the bus. And Hank said, roll call. And he said, where's Tom? He said, he's not here. And Eugene Hirsch, one of our teammates, made a comment. Coach, we cannot leave Tom. Hank looked at the bus driver, looked at Eugene Hirsch. He said, let's go. And they left me. And that taught me a lesson. They left me. Yeah.
One instance, riding the towns, during the holiday, man, we was undefeated. Came up to the holiday break. We were supposed to be at practice right after Christmas, Rodney said, he ain't coming that day. He coming the next day. So he put him off the team. And everybody, man, Rodney, how we gonna win and stuff? The whole city of Danville. Man, how we gonna win? You know what he told him? Y'all gotta step up. And we beat that team. And Rodney came back, begged, Coach, please, and he have no more trouble on Rodney or nobody else.
I've heard many people talk about how Hank didn't have stars, and he treated everybody. I think there was one time they said to find somebody that scored 30 points in a game would be rare because of the way that he played people. So how did he treat you and handle you as a standout kind of player?
I would have to say he allowed me a little freedom, but I knew how far to go because I would be on my team. But knowing all the guys that I knew, I played the guys behind me, like Bobby Roy, Tommy Thompson, Ronaldo Thompson, my brothers. I can go on and on. What you saw me doing out here, I was playing inside of me, but it was like them. So when the shooting started, that was Tom. That was Thomas Thompson. You know, the jumping was Montgomery. So you put all that together, you know, you couldn't help but, you get out here, I'm thinking of them, really, you know, and what they did and how they did it. You know, the character is like, it's, you can't explain it really, but, you know, it's like an energy. You just overflow with it, you know, and you represent, you know, I'm representing Montgomery, I'm representing Tom, you know, so it just overflows.
Claudius Claiborne, who captained two of Allen's teams in the mid-'60s and became one of the most celebrated players ever at Langston, going on to become the first African-American player at Duke University, echoed those sentiments.
We all knew about Rodney's brothers, right? And Coach made sure we knew that we were part of a lineage coming along, you know. So he was always referring back to those guys, you know, James Montgomery, you know, Bernard Towns, James Towns. And so it wasn't just Rodney that knew about those guys. If you played for him, you knew.
The ultra-talented Towns, a 5'9" jumping jack that could score, defend, block shots, and dazzle a crowd, was still a challenge for the venerable coach.
Rodney was a tough guy to handle. He wasn't easy. He was one of the toughest guys I had to handle because I knew Rodney was at the beginning, Rodney was a temperamental youngster. See, and he might just say, forget it all, I'm going home. That's what kind of guy he was. And I knew he was like that. So I had to handle him a little differently than I handled some of the other guys.
But the brilliant Allen made use of all his players, deftly using them when the situations dictated. There was no more critical situation than the 1965 Western District Championship game against who else? Dunbar. Allen and the Lions, after losing the opening game of the season, having run off 21 straight wins, were working on an 18-0 district record and a 21-1 overall mark.
I think it was a championship game, and we were down. We were down something like 15 or 18 points, and Claiborne couldn't get it going. I couldn't get it going. Looked like we were dead, and Coach made a decision to bring in Big Mac, and Big Mac turned it out.
Conway Williams?
That's Conway Williams. I think he shot down 24 points and a half. And that was a night that I never can forget because it just showed me you never give up, and it's a part of life. So you just keep yourself focused.
You have to understand that Connie Mack wasn't the hardest worker on the team. So we were always trying to get Connie Mack to condition, to be in shape to play. And Coach would say, we're going to need Connie Mack. Before the season is over, we're going to need Connie Mack. And it came all the way down to the last game of the tournament, and we really needed Connie Mack. And he was ready. He showed up then,
The previously little-used Conway Williams scored the last 4 points to send the game into overtime and then scored all 6 Langston points in OT en route to a game-high 24 points in the 72-68 victory. Later in the same season, in the state VIA tournament semifinals at Hampton Institute, a game after Morrill James' tap-in led Langston to a thrilling 77-76 win over Bobby Dandridge and Maggie Walker of Richmond, Alan Mitchell, another little-used player, came off the bench to hold heralded Carver Newport News multi-sport standout Leroy Keys to 17 points while scoring 30 points himself, propelling Langston to a dominant and devastating 90-43 win over the rivals from Newport News. Keys, who would later attend Purdue University, finished second to O.J. Simpson in the 1968 Heisman Trophy race.